We are joined by Hashim Al-Said, who is joining us live from there. Hashim, assalamu alaikum. You're talking to Mohammed Shafiq live here in the studio.
Alaikum salam, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I know these past few days you've been very, very busy because I've been hearing a lot about you. I've been seeing your name. Ahmed Bustana, all the team have been telling me about you. Where are you at the moment? What is happening? Are you in Rafah or are you in Al Arish? Where are you?
No, currently in Cairo. We're just working our operations now from Cairo, centralized here. So we are now just working closely with the Egyptian Red Crescent and other organizations on the ground in order to procure supplies locally, and also just to be able to collect and gather all the data that we need from Cairo.
Yeah, and obviously it's a big operation, lots of different aid agencies, but lots of governments who've sent aid as well. Egyptian government has been, overwhelmed by the level of aid that's coming in, and obviously aid agencies, non-government organizations, generally at the back of the queue, if you like. What's the situation? What's the relationship like with Red Crescent and the Egyptian government? Tell us a bit more about PennyAppeal.
So with the Egyptian Red Crescent and all the other organizations, governmental organizations and non-governmental organizations, they've all been it's been almost a community and a collective effort in order to be able to have a supply chain that we can track and trace and make sure it's going across to the other side to Rafah, as we can all see with the images that we see on a daily basis. And it's hard to just even see the news without shedding a tear. And but we have to try and remain focused, for our ultimate goal is to help as many people as we possibly can in Gaza. And with your efforts, thank you for all the donations that are coming in. With your efforts, it's giving us a lot of hope that we can get this job done. In terms of the layout on the ground here in Cairo, as you said, you are very right. The ERC are at full capacity in terms of working capacity. They are recruiting as much as possible. They have trucks going in and out of their warehouses on an hourly basis. Now, the data that I've been given shows that there's still not enough trucks that are going in as pre-war to now currently during the war. So we really have to just ramp up those efforts. We are obviously, like we're all mentioning now, we're just trying to call for a ceasefire in order for us to be able to do our job even better and more swiftly than we are right now. But for now, all I can say is the Egyptian authorities are cooperating, and they are doing all they can to help us and to help the INGOs and the NGOs on the ground, and also the large international NGOs as well, are looking to work with the smaller and mid-sized NGOs to pull together and try and get as many emergency supplies as possible to Gaza.
Yeah, and that is, sorry, I'm just making sure my mic was okay, but what's the situation like? Egyptians, just to tell you, Hisham, I've been on that journey. I've been to Gaza in 2013 and 2014. I've done the long drive from Cairo to El Arish, the 7-8 hour drive. I've done that as well. So I know, I've been through the Rafah crossing. It's very difficult time in ordinary times. How difficult has it been with war going on? The aid has to be approved by the United Nations on behalf of the Egyptians and the Israelis. It's very, very tough, isn't it?
It's extremely tough. I don't think in the previous wars that have happened in Gaza, it has been this difficult. And it's just been the rules that have been set in place right now, essentially by the Israelis, have made our job a lot more difficult than it has been in the past. So in terms of the checks that are being done, for obvious reasons, but also maybe won't go down the political debate. But what happens is it makes the volume of trucks that are able to go across to the border even less than really what should be going across. So the issue we have now is pre-war, we had the average, the data that it was roughly about 200 trucks going across the border on a daily basis. And since the beginning of this war, the 7th of October, we've probably not even hit 400 trucks since the beginning of the war. So you can imagine the depletion of supplies. This led actually, I don't know if you followed it, but this led to looting. Some of the UN warehouses across in Gaza were looted last week. This just goes to show the sign of desperation that people are really in, and it's just. I mean, if I was in that position and I'm trying to feed my wife, my children, they are. It's just. I don't even have words to tell you, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's a real sense, isn't there, Hisham, that people are feeling helpless.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, when I was there in 2013, I saw the water purification plant which PennyAppeal had donated. That was back in 2013. I saw that with my own eyes. PennyAppeal is being established in Palestine, in Gaza and the West Bank. Can you just tell us a bit about that? I know you're relatively new to the organization, but that relationship has been going on for many, many years. We're embedded in these communities, aren't we?
We are. PennyAppeal have really been in Palestine or in Gaza since for about 7 years now, I believe. So we've been building developmental projects in Gaza. We've got a supply chain for supplying dates, for example, Palestinian farm dates. We have built orphanages, schools, and like you mentioned, water wells, clean water. We've been really, really active in the community in Gaza, and may it continue. And I know there's probably going to be a lot of rebuilding now. Once this war, inshallah, is over. But for now, we just have to send across the essential supplies. There's a lack of water, there's a lack of fuel. Fuel's a banned substance right now to send across, so they can't even cook. They can't put any energy through their houses, of what remains of their houses, and it's just it's a really dire situation. I can't really even begin to imagine what they're going through, to be honest with you. I mean, if you imagine 50 trucks a day that are going through to a city of a population the size of Birmingham, Manchester, and Liverpool put together on a daily basis,
Insane, isn't it?
50 trucks a day wouldn't serve those three cities on a normal day, let alone during the war.
Yeah, and obviously you have the added problem where the Rafah crossing was open the last 48 hours. It's been closed today. So we have this intermittent, it opens, it closes, it opens, it closes. There are, as you said, many countries who've sent aid who are waiting. They obviously will get priority over charities. What work are we doing with the Egyptian government to make sure that the aid that you are procuring now in Cairo for PennyAppeal is able to get across through the teams who are working on the ground in Gaza at the moment?
So there is a logistics cluster process that is happening right now. I have been involved in some high-level meetings with the logistics supply chain in the country, and also how supplies that are coming from outside of the country, how do they get imported in? Now, essentially, again, everybody has to abide by the Egyptian authorities in terms of importing and exporting rules. But also, if you are locally procuring on the ground, we are procuring our own supplies. We also have to follow certain rules. So, for instance, there's some supplies where there is a shortage for the locals that we are not allowed to procure, and there's a few rules around that. But we are still we're working very closely in tandem with the authorities to see what we're able to procure locally, what we need to ship into the country. And then in terms of the logistics supplies, the warehouses are mainly ERC or Egyptian Red Crescent warehousing, but we are also trying to, as PennyAppeal ourselves, we are trying to build our own logistical supply chain to then go in tandem with the ERC. So with all those donations that are coming in, and thank you all globally, or PennyAppeal around the world, for the hard work and efforts that you're all doing. And I'm sure we will be putting every penny to good use for every family in Gaza.
You know, Hashim, it also suggests to me, by what you've just said, that this commitment for Gaza, this commitment from Penny Appeal, is going to be a long-term thing. By the fact that you're building a potential warehouse, this is going to be a long-term relationship with the people of Palestine, and we're going to stand with them through these dark days of immediate aid. But when it comes to rebuilding Gaza, when it comes to rebuilding homes, the orphanages, and deal with the mental health trauma, the PTSD, all of them sort of issues, will be with them. Just talk to our viewers about that.
100%. We are always in this for the long term. Emergency response isn't just about now. Well, it is about now, but it is also about what's happening next year. How do we rebuild those families' lives? And as you mentioned, trauma, PTSD, all these social issues and mental health issues that are going to arise. We will be active in every part of the way to try and get and rebuild these families' lives. Right now, essentially, it's we start with the emergency supplies, and that is the food, non-food, and medical, and then we move on to physically rebuilding people's homes. That, as you can see, there are no, the homes are being demolished on a daily basis. Actually, to let you know, this is information that I've had recently, that our partner on the ground in Gaza, unfortunately, has lost his home. So you can only imagine what he's going through, and what he's not sure what he's able to do. So yes, we are there for the long term, and we are there to support, and we will be there during the war and after the war and for many years to come. They've been our close partner, like you said, for 7 years, and they will continue for many more years to come, inshallah.
Yeah, we are going to, and you know, that, as I said, that relationship is there. Our founder, Deem Yunus, who I was speaking to yesterday here in Wakefield, saying to me, look, we're in it for the long haul. I hope that when things calm down, I'll be able to join you and, you know, see for myself how these donations have been spent, because we did it in Turkey, we did it in Pakistan. I mean, this relationship is very difficult. How are you managing? How are you dealing with the trauma? You know, like all of us, we feel helpless, but you're at the front line. There's such a huge expectation on your shoulders to get everything ready as quickly as possible so that we can help when our trucks can go in.
I mean, the pressure here is it's been overwhelming, to say the least. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, because it's a global it's a war that is on a it's got a global interest on a global scale. Of course, Palestine and Gaza hits the heart to every family, and I'm not talking just Muslim. If you're a humanitarian and someone for loss of humanitarian life across the whole world, you can see from all the protests that are happening in every global city, in their numbers, in their hundreds of thousands. It's really heartwarming to see everybody come out and make a stand against this vicious bombing. And all I can say is it's been overwhelming to really get all the live feeds and data here. Some days are very tough. As I mentioned, it's even reading the news headlines every morning or going to sleep. It's not easy just seeing the news and not tearing up. But also, I've got to have an objective in mind, that we are here for the very reason of trying to save every life possible, and trying to help every life possible that is in need of help right now. And this is why one of the reasons is, as you mentioned, I am quite new to Penny Appeal, but this is one of the reasons why I joined the organization, because I want to do better, and I want to help the needs and wants and of humanitarian life.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking when I've been there, Cairo, beautiful people, Egyptians, but there's something very special about the Palestinians, particularly from Gaza. I mean, you're an Arab, it's your culture, but as a Pakistani, when I've been in Gaza, their hospitality, their love, their sense of unity, their humbleness. How do you see the Palestinian people?
They are some of the warmest people and the best people you'll meet. I have a lot of Palestinian friends back in London or across the world, and they are friends that you that you make for life. They treat you as your family. They treat you as someone that they take you in and embrace you as if you're their own family, even when you're not. So yeah, it's just they're just a heartwarming nation.
Yeah, they are. And you know what? You were doing an amazing job. I know how hard it is, because when I was in Turkey during the earthquake, and I sat in some of your meetings, the prep work that goes in. As a presenter, I don't get to see that sort of thing normally. But when I was there, I got to see that. And the amount of hours you have to put in, the restless nights, the long meetings, the rushing from one point to another point, and language barriers that you have as well. But we pray that Allah keeps you safe, Hashim. I know you've got a very busy day. You're on Sky News tomorrow. You've got lots of media commitments as well as all the meetings. So if it's okay with you, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Keep safe. And what's your final message to our viewers who are watching this around the world?
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And I'd like to thank everyone across the world who have donated to Penny Appeal globally. It's been you that's really been driving us here operationally, keeping us going, to know that yes, that humanity really is still there, and with your help, it's your help, and that's your donations that are helping us keep going on the ground here, and giving us that hope that yes, we will back every Gazan citizen for now and through the long term. And I'd like to thank you all very, very much.
Yeah, and Hashim, I know you've got a busy day, but thank you so much. Much love, much respect, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon again in the days coming. Thank you so much, Hashim.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you so much. Hashim Al-Sayed, who's from Penny Appeal, who's on the ground there in Egypt. He's currently in Cairo having those very important meetings with suppliers and the prep work that you're doing. But thank you so much, Hashim Al-Sayed, who's part of the Penny Appeal team on the ground there in Cairo, joining us live, giving us an update as to what's happening. Sometimes when we stand here as presenters, there's such a high, fast pace of information coming in and out, and so that can be sometimes difficult. But we wanted to give you that opportunity to hear directly from the teams on the ground how difficult it is.